me again tonight. We're available to help you in case you have any issue, any technical challenge or question during the training. So I welcome you once again. All right, who can give me the summary of what we discussed last week? Can give me a summary of what we discussed last week?
I think we looked at design approach and the research methods when it comes to uh, UI design.
Research approach and design methods. Okay. Is there any other thing we discussed? Is that all we discussed? Who else is speaking? Nobody wants to talk, eh? Is anybody talking?
That was majorly it now. We also went up, I know we went through the terminologies. So, what is design? What is UI? What is UX? What is a
Okay.
brand? What's
Right.
product
So let me
design?
just yeah. Thank you very much. All right. So let me just give you a brief summary of what we discussed last class. So a brief recap. Last class I started by defining some terms. I defined design, UI/UX, UI/UX, and product design. I went on to explain two design approaches: user-centered design and design thinking. I also enlightened you on how to choose the right research method for your design, under which I discussed generative and evaluative user research. And finally, I talked about defining the problem scope, but I would like to still dwell more on the types of user research. So let's move on to tonight's class. So, uh, tonight's class, we'll be talking on. Can you still see my screen? Can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So last class we talked about generative and evaluative research method. So let me quickly talk about it again. So generative research method is done to generate information about the users and how they operate. You know, just like I said last week, I said it involves learning about who the users are, what they do, how they do, why they do what they do in a particular way, what frustrates them, what makes them happy, and in what context they um, in context they take action, they take an action. In what context they get angry? Do they complain about the service that's been rendered by the product? And then I also mentioned the method occur. I said the method occur during the early stage of product development and also focuses on discovering and the motivation discovering motivations, what motivates your user, the pain points of the pain points, their experience when they use your product. You understand? And then I also said it can continue at a smaller scale throughout the project. Requires clarification. So which means you can still conduct your research even while you're still on the project. Like I mean the middle of the road, not only at the beginning, you can also conduct user research at the middle of the road. Yeah. So, and then I also talked about evaluative research. I said it's done to assess something that exists. To assess something, it's unlike generative. You use that method when a product is about to be created, when it's yet to be designed. So you just want to gather that data on the likes, the dislikes of your users. So you use the generative research, this particular type of research, which is generative research. But when the product is done and you just want to evaluate, you want to check out that have we met all the requirements, all the standards that our users gave us or our stakeholders gave us, have we met all their needs? Then that's when you use evaluative research. So it's done to assess something that already exists for a design or application, and the types of questions that evaluative research can help answer include: is the design solving the problem for users? Those are questions you ask yourself. The design I've made, is it solving the problem for users? How is the application performing? That is the application responsive? Can anybody on the call explain to me what responsiveness is in web design? Hello?
Okay, let me try. I don't know. That's
Responsiveness. Do you know what
responsiveness
it
in web
means?
design. Yeah. So can you hear me, Hannah?
Okay. Since nobody is talking, then we'll have to find out.
I don't think she can hear you.
Yeah, I
Hello?
think.
Can you hear us, Hannah?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Someone was answering the question.
Okay.
Okay, hi Hannah. Can you hear
I
me
can't
now?
hear the person.
Ah,
Hello, can you hear me? Me, I can hear the person loud and clear.
yeah.
Really? I
Hannah
can't hear
can
the
hear
person.
everybody else except me for some odd reason. Let me leave and join. Let me leave and join back. Maybe it's my line.
Hello, can you hear the person talking?
No, I can't.
Wow. Okay, who is the person self? Look, you leave and join back. I think I'm not sure it's the network is from your end anyway. It should be from our own end. Okay. You can go on, Anna.
Okay. So, I hope I think, okay, the person is just Ayo, right? I hope you heard what I've been saying since morning, the types of user research, and have discussed generative versus evaluative research, and uh, I've explained generative user research, and I'm on evaluative user research presently. All right, so I was asking, who knows the meaning of responsiveness in web design? Can anybody answer that?
Okay, so I think it's when the web page is adjusted based on the device that is being used to view the web page. So if it's a mobile device, it automatically adjusts itself to fix the screen of the mobile device. If it's a PC, it will automatically extend itself to fit the screen of the PC, I think.
All right, thanks for that nice definition. That's what responsiveness means. All right, so let me go on. Yeah, another question you can ask yourself when you want to conduct an evaluative research is: can users complete tasks easily? You maybe you take for instance now this is a web application. We are on Butter, and if let's say Butter wants to conduct an evaluative user research now, one of the questions they ask their users is: can you complete that easily? Can you join the call easily? How many minutes does it take you to join the call? Is it difficult? Um, can you react? Can you press thumbs up easily? Understand? Can you chat easily? Or do you find it difficult navigating layout? You understand? So those are questions. Which features are a source of frustration? Where are users unable to complete tasks correctly, and why? Yes, those are questions they can ask. Works great. What does not? Why? Why is this button not responding? Why is the record button not responding? Why is the chat button not responding anytime a user clicks on it? Why? So those are questions So basically, the why question is uh, is a question you ask when you're evaluating why, and you just want to find out reasons why there are glitch in the products you've created. Why is this? Why is that? Just to find out which where words WH questions you understand. So let's move on. So those questions that evaluative research, those are the questions that evaluative research will answer when you conduct an evaluative research. And as long as there is something rather, there's something to evaluate. Evaluative research can be conducted at any time through the project, which means you can conduct an evaluative research once you leave the start of the project, like once you've moved from the start of the project. Do you still remember the stages, your design stages? I mean the UCD and the design thinking stages. From when you move from empathy, by the time we get to your design stage, when you are designing to create a solution, you can conduct an evaluative um, research at that stage to check if the data you gathered at the empathy stage is still what you are working on. You understand what I'm saying? So as long as there is something to evaluate, evaluative research can be conducted at any time throughout the project. And you can subject early sketches, paper or digital prototypes, and implementing interface to evaluative research. What that means is that you can prototype on paper. I know some of us we are not familiar with UIUX. Maybe we are new to it, so we might not know what a digital prototype looks like, in place of a paper prototype. So maybe during the course, I will show you how it looks. If I say I want to show you now, I'll have to switch on the slides and go. So once I'm done with the slides, I can always show you that. So just remind me during the course of the class, I'll show you how a digital prototype looks like. So you can conduct an evaluative research on a digital prototype or on a web page like this, maybe an application that has been launched. That is what we call implemented interfaces. You get what I'm saying? So you can conduct that type of research on a ready-made product. So now let's go to another type of user research, which is quantitative and qualitative research. Now you can see that the first slide I said generative versus evaluative research. Now they have something in common with research, but there's something the versus comes because one you can conduct it at the beginning, while the latter one you can conduct it towards the end or maybe after the beginning stage. You understand? But this one quantitative versus qualitative. So just note, I deliberately paired those types of research, and I want you to take notes of what they share and their differences. You understand? So let me discuss quantitative user research. Quantitative user research can deliver statistical significant results. You know, quantitative, qualitative, or a combination of these methods can be used in either generative or evaluative research. You can use quantitative and qualitative research under evaluative and generative research. No, I told you that this generative research is used at the beginning of the product. You conduct that type of research at the beginning of your design development, your product development. So even if you if so that means if you decide to use generative user research method, you can mix your user research methods and decide to pick quantitative to run a quantitative and qualitative user research method alongside with your generative user research method or evaluative user research method. So let me explain what this means. Quantitative research generally provides high quality data about a large number of participants, which means you can use it, you can conduct this research with a large number of participants. While qualitative is not like that, it provides richer data about a smaller number of participants. Do you understand? You understand the difference now? Let me recap again. Quantitative research generally provides high level data about a large number of participants, while qualitative research generally provides richer data about a small number of participants. So you can know the difference now, that they are actually different, but they are similar because let's go on. Let me move on to qualitative. So maybe when I explain, you guys understand why I coupled them together. So quantitative research methods, uh, the methods collect numerical. I mean, that's under quantitative now. Quantitative research method collects numerical, measurable data, and this method allow UI/UX researchers, professionals, or researchers to discover broad patterns. You can combine different designs and their trade-off. You can tie their work back to company goals and key development indicators that we call KPIs. And this method, it includes surveys, it includes cast sorting and web analytics. So under quantitative uh, user research, you can conduct surveys, you can conduct cast sorting and web analytics. But under let me see if mention another point under quantitative research. You can use it to measure, and it also helps answer what questions, like what, questions like how much and how many types, like how many types of questions. Like when you know those, if you know those points I mentioned, what, when you ask what, that means you want to state it, you want to know about something. But when you ask how much, that means you're asking about the quantity of something. You understand? So that is quantitative research. You are conducting the research to gather facts or numbers. You can conduct that research if you want to know how many men are in Nigeria, or maybe you want to know how much how much how will I structure this question now? How much effort can you put into learning driving? You understand? So that those are, and maybe when you have you ever filled a survey whereby you see on the scale of 1 to 5. So those are quantitative research. So now back to our project brief. Last week, was it last week? Yes, last week Thursday. Um, I mentioned a particular project brief as an example, and I said, do you remember, I talked about the travel space. So do you remember our discussion on designing a solution to a problem in the travel space? I hope you still remember. And our goal is to help young adults plan a trip. So now, assuming we want to conduct a quantitative and qualitative research under generative user research, your quantitative research questions will be like, how many times do you travel in a month? How many times do you travel in a month? How much do you spend on a trip? How many clothes do you pack if you spend a week on the trip? You know, how many means of what are your means of transportation, and what means of transportation do you prefer? You know, what means of transportation do you have at your disposal, or which one do you prefer? You understand? And then which no, let me use the with now. With what frequency do you have to use the convenience while on a trip? You can know that those questions keeps pointing at you. The response you expect from such a question is 5 times. Okay, let me take the last one now. With what frequency do you have to use the convenience while on a trip? Okay, maybe the user said I never have to use the convenience while on a trip, or I get to use the convenience 5 times. They are not yes or no questions. They are questions that will probe your user to say something about themselves. You understand? So those are questions you can ask while conducting a quantitative user research. And when you conduct quantitative user research with a large number of participants, it will deliver statistically significant results. Just like I mentioned earlier, you will get the results you will get will be more of statistics, like figures. And then so uh if it's under let me cite another instance now. If it's under evaluative type of user research, your quantitative research questions will be like, how many pages does a user navigate during a visit to the website? Now we are no more asking about how was your trip, how is this, how is that now. What we are asking, that question is coming because we are now done designing the product. Perhaps the product is now at the prototype stage. Oh no, it can't you no this question you can't even ask this question at the prototype stage anymore. The user's testing stage, which means the product has been launched. It's now on the web, so people can now access it. You just want to do some tests, you want to make some research, and then you are choosing to use evaluative type of user research. So the question you can ask is, how many pages does a user to uh, navigate to during a visit to our website? How many pages do they navigate to? Do they stop at the home page and go back, or do they navigate to the check to our products? Do they do this? Do they do that? Do they sign in? Do they bother to authenticate their page, or they just prefer getting our page as a visitor? You know, another question is, at what frequency are users accessing the application on certain devices? Yeah, there's something they call uh, the digital footprints. So you can know how many times people have visited your page. You can know if people have been signing in on Android, or they've been signing in on their tablets, or they've been signing in with their iPhone, or they've been signing in with their Tonosobe. How will I put it now? You understand what I'm saying? So you will get to know who is who from the IP address, from the details, the web, the brow. I mean, the person surfing the net leaves behind whenever when you launch a website, you see a pop up, accept cookies, yes or no. So anytime you click yes, you've given them. Anytime you log in, they have access to your logs. You understand? So let's move on. So as what frequency, I've mentioned some questions that I just hope you are noting them, because by the time I asked you to draft your research plan, those are those are the ways you will draft your question. So that's why I'm giving you examples, and I hope you are noting them. So you can see ask questions like, how many new and how many returning visitors does the application have per time? How much time do users spend on a given page? Questions like, what is the distribution of keywords that users search for? An example of that is Google Analytics. It's always to analyze keywords, to analyze the trending words and all that. So that's that. Now let's move on to qualitative user research. We have dwelt too much on quantitative. Let's go to qualitative. Do we have access to the slides? No, we don't have access to the slides. All right, so let me not get distracted. So, Lishola will answer your question. Qualitative research method examine why users behave the way they do in depth. Why do they behave like, okay? Have you ever asked yourself, ask someone, why are you behaving like this? That's qualitative research. Why are you behaving like this? I'm like, how many times the person's like, how many times have I told you not to do this? That is quantitative. But if it's qualitative, why are you behaving like this? Those are questions you can ask under qualitative research. And it's focused on motivations, thought process behind the user's experience, to build empathy, to explain why users are behaving a particular way, and provide illustrative scenarios. Because by the time, if you want to empathize, and you want to empathize with your user, you have to be very creative. You have to be illustrative. When you are drafting your empathy map, you have to think, okay, let me try to put myself in this person's shoe. How is this person feeling? There must be a way he or she is feeling. That's why he or she could have said this. Get so that's when you can design a solution for such users. So now this method they include under qualitative. Now the method you can use under qualitative includes interviews. You can conduct focus groups, diary studies, and field studies. Those are examples of research you can. And last week I explained what diary studies mean. I explained what interview means and focus group. So you can check back and check the last video to the last class recording to know the meaning of those research methods. All right. So to seek to understand users' feelings, users' needs, and why your users are taking some actions, you have to conduct qualitative research. If it is under the generative type of user research, uh, your qualitative user research question will be like, why do people feel frustrated when traveling on a bus? No. Why do you feel frustrated when traveling on a bus? Why do you prefer traveling in a car over a bus? Why do you feel frustrated traveling in a bus? I mean, why do you travel? Why do you have to travel that much in a month? Maybe your user said, I travel 5 times in a month. And you're like, why? Why do you have to travel that much? Are you a Jala travel? Let me know why. Those are questions. And why do you prefer going with cash on your trip? Why not go with your ATM? These are questions you can ask your participants when conducting qualitative user research. So those questions are quantitative rather. Sorry, excuse me. Those questions are under quantitative now. But if it's under qualitative, like I said, qualitative, they are why questions. Why are my users spending more time on this page? Now if I'm to go back to that question now, the first question I asked under when I was I don't know if you noticed some questions I asked earlier. Now, after the product has been launched, now I want to ask some qualitative research questions. Now, the questions I'll be asking will be like, why are users spending more time on this page than on the other page? Why do they fail to complete a task? Why are users frustrated by this feature? Why do people need that feature? Why do people get in trouble understanding, or why do they have trouble understanding how to use our application? Those are questions you can ask. And I hope you noted how I framed those questions. So the way I structured my question at the beginning stage of my design process, which is the empathy stage, is different from how I structured them at the last stage of my design process. And I hope you noted that. So the two types of research have specific circumstances in which they can be adopted. One is at the beginning, while the other is towards the ending. And I have used the generative and the evaluative now to explain quantitative and qualitative. And I hope you got that. Please, I hope if you can, if you understand what I've been saying, please raise up your hand. Let me just be sure that I've not missed the whole thing up. Okay. All right. Thank you. I can see two people. All right. So the two types of research, just like I said, they have different circumstances, they have specific circumstances in which you can adopt them. And why people like adopting quantitative research, it is worth noting that there are some informations you won't get when your users you won't get from your users if you don't use qualitative research. There are some informations you won't get from them. You only get to gather uh, figures when you use quantitative only, but it's when you use qualitative that's when you get to know that okay, this is why they did this is why they did that. You get to know the behind their actions. So now let me still let me please just note this that quantitative and qualitative research they work best when done together, and that's why I've grouped them together. They work best when done together. You have to when if you know you want to adopt um quantitative, make sure you also adopt qualitative. So these types of research they can be employed at the onset and throughout, unlike generative that it's only at the beginning you can use that. But quantitative and qualitative you can adopt them at the beginning, at the middle, or at the end. And let me just say throughout the project you can adopt that method. So let's move to the next research type, which is formative and summative versus summative research. All right, so formative research and summative research, they are types of evaluative research. I hope you are noting that. They are types of evaluative research. And the difference between them lies in when in a product they are conducted and for what purpose. I hope that's clear enough. The difference between the two research methods is that the time you conduct them, it lies in the time you conduct them and for what purpose. You understand? So let me explain what formative research is. It is typically done at the onset of a project. Formative research is typically done at the onset of a project or development cycle to assess the current stage of a feature, a website, or an application. So if you just like generative research method, formative research method is also adopted at the onset of a project to assess the current state. But formative, you are applying formative just because you can and you I mentioned something the other time that there are both types of evaluative and you can only conduct evaluative research when a product is finished or is still being worked on, not at the beginning. So that means automatically formative and summative research can be used when a product is finished or is still being worked on. You understand? So that's why formative research is typically done at the onset of a project. Now, take for instance, now butter has been launched. Butter has, or let me use Facebook this time around. Facebook has been launched. So they are not conducting they won't conduct generative research anymore. Any research they want to conduct now to improve their products will be very formative. That's if they choose to adopt that research method. It will be formative, because they now want to upgrade the product. This is the start of the upgrade. You want to conduct a research. You understand? So they can adopt formative research methods. I hope you understand that. So you conduct formative user research. You conduct the current state of a feature, a website, or an selling points, the user's experience when interacting with an application. Take for instance now, Facebook, I don't know, maybe because of the large community, it's always sometimes it closes itself and then you have to launch it again before you can do some other things. So that's a problem I've identified. So if I want to conduct a formative research on Facebook now, I'll state the good things about Facebook. Okay, yeah, I want to check is the navigation. Is it? Yes. Is it responsive? Yes. Is this how will I put it now? Is the application uh when it comes aesthetics wise, is it okay? Yes. But when it comes to the UX, that's the UI part. Now the UX, what are the issues we are facing? Then we start with throwing out surveys and all. That's formative research. Now let me go to summative research. Summative research is a process of evaluating the final or near final state of a product, just like evaluative user research. But this time around, it's a ready-made product we are researching on. The product has been launched already. So now that you've adopted formative user research. Now towards the end, you won't say you are doing evaluative user research. What you should say is you are doing summative research. It's the process of evaluating the final or near final states rather of a feature of a website or an application at the end of a product or the end of a project or development cycle. So just like I said the other time, we have generative, we have evaluative, we have formative, we have summative. We are going to have a mini test tonight. So I'm taking my time to explain these things. So I understand it can be confusing, but I want you to note those things. I want you to note them very well because questions are going to come on these topics. All right. So another thing about summative research method is that it helps evaluate whether a design, a feature, or application meets the user's goals. If a project rather or development cycle started with formative research, the results of summative we say if a project or development cycle started with formative research, the results of summative research can be compared to those of formative research to measure success or progress. Just like you can compare and contrast generative and evaluative. You know, you are conducting evaluative research to check whether the project was successful. So same thing with summative, you are checking whether the research was successful. If the product is successful, rather the product you design, if whatever amendments you've done is successful. That's what summative research is all about. So now let me go to the next type of research, which is primary versus secondary research. And primary research is it's I would say it's the most critical method in design research because it involves you or your team going directly to the source. You know, it's like the mother primary and secondary research is just like the mother of all the types of the broad how will I put it now? If you are arranging maybe if you are asked to categorize some things using the tree method, you have something at the top, just like you have the grandfather, the grandmother, the father, mother, all those tree methods we use when we were in secondary school or maybe primary school. So I would say primary and secondary research just like stopping the diagram. So primary research is the most critical method in design research that involves you or your team going directly to the source. Because I've mentioned four types of, apart from primary research, now I've mentioned four types of user research. We have generative, we have evaluative, we have formative, we have summative, and all these four requires that you meet with your users. So they are all under primary research, user research. So it involves you or your team going directly to your users or your customers or whatever it may be in that context to ask questions and gather data. And the goal is often to understand better who you are designing for or to validate your ideas with the end users. You understand? So that is what primary research is all about. So some examples of primary research it includes interviews, it includes user groups, contextual inquiry. So I will take my time to explain these points, the types of primary research now, and let me change my slide. All right, so it includes interview, user groups, contextual inquiry, diary study, usability testing. So I'll be taking those points one by one and I'll explain them. So under interview, what does interview mean? It means one-on-one interaction with the person. So one-on-one interviews are a great way to start collecting primary research. So there are three main types of interview. You have directed, non-directed, ethnographic interview. Let me mention them again. You have directed interview, non-directed interviews, and ethnographic interview. Now, what does direct interview means? They are the most common and follow the standard questions and answer formats. So just like, what is your name? What does it feel like to be an adult? No direct questions. And then the non-direct interviews, they are used when participants may not feel comfortable with direct questions. So instead, this interview is set up as a conversation with some rough guidelines. So you can conduct a non-direct interview when, okay, you can ask a kid some direct questions. There's kids interviews. You can conduct interviews if you want to research why kids behave in certain way, or you want to design a product for some kids. You can conduct such an interview. You can conduct an interview with them. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? So you can ask a young child. So tell me about school today, and he or she will easily open up. But if you ask an adult that, why, if I don't know you, why are you asking me that? How was your day? Do I know you? You understand? So, definitely, you are not going to make all your participants your family members when you are conducting a research. So definitely, you have some outsiders. So you have to warm up. You have to speak with them and ask them some questions. So you won't start with the direct questions. It's just like, oh, no, oh, I love your shirt. Are you a Chelsea fan? And I heard that your club won the last club cup, or I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not really educated when it comes to football. I heard your I don't know whether it's Chelsea winning or Arsenal now. I don't know. So pardon my mistake or whatever. So you can start with that, and then before you now dive. Oh, actually, the reason I'm interacting with you is that I'm working on a project, and I feel you fall in the category of people I can ask questions from. You understand? So that's how you can start that. And then let me go to ethnographic. Ethnographic interviews involve observing people in their day-to-day environment. It's very similar to contextual inquiry, which we will discuss later. So let me go to user groups. It's also known as focus groups. So I can see that our time is almost gone. So I'll try to brush the other types of research, and perhaps if I see that the time is not really on our side, I might have to cut some parts. Yeah, you understand, because the research is quite broad. Research is quite broad, so we can't really exhaust user research in one sitting or in how many classes that we. So just make sure that whatever I'm giving you, note them and apply them. So now let me go to user groups. It's also known as focus groups, and three or six participants. Maybe you just want to use focus group or user groups research method. So in this type of method, you have a moderator that guides the discussion. You provide verbal and written feedback through the exercises, and then this method is best when you need to get a lot of user insights in a short period of time. Just like I said, it's very It's something you can quickly, if you want a quickie gathering of data, you can use user groups. So you can use this kind of you can adopt this research method for your assignments, user groups. So you can, okay, I think I know who is who can answer this question. Who this, and then you gather them, you send your survey to them, and you understand. So now let me go to contextual inquiry. So under contextual inquiry, you ask users a set of standard questions. You ask them, and then you observe them in their natural environment as they complete their everyday tasks. So it's not just an interview or an observation. You just want to watch people perform tasks as they explain what they are doing and why. And this type of research is especially important at the beginning of the design process to learn what is important to users and how they interact with similar tools or services. So, which means when it comes to contextual inquiry, you can ask them questions about existing products. Okay, you just want to create a product. Your idea is not new. Somebody has done something similar to what you want to do. But what makes yours unique? You understand? That's what that's what makes there are many fintech products out there, but all of them they are unique. There's something that makes one better than the other. So you can ask them, have you used OPay before? Why do you like OPay? You understand? You can put our contextual and or your research might require that you go to people's shops. Take for instance now you can go to a shoemaker's shop while conducting user research. Okay. While conducting your research, and then because maybe let's say your research topic is why made to fit shoes are heavier than ready made shoes. I don't know if you've noticed that all these custom made shoes, Nigerian made shoes, let me just put it that way, they are heavier when you wear them, unlike ready made. Maybe that's what I observe. I don't know whether it applies to you. And then you have the shoemaker standard questions like, since when have you been in this business? Are you happy doing this business? Why are you still doing this business? Despite the hike in material costs, blah blah blah. And then you ask them such question. And then you got on this question, would you like to keep doing this business in Nigeria or you will relocate abroad? And he says no, because he does not want the riches in his family to know that he's planning to travel out. So, but while you are seated observing him how he is making those shoes, and then you ask questions that will give you an insight as to why made to fit shoes are heavier than ready made shoes. The lights got interrupted, and then the man started lamenting, gbọ̀ọ́ la máa jápa ní country báyìí, ṣáwa ní jápa báyìí. Well, I need Japan country. I'm tired of this country. Tell me, you you can relate with such lamentations and and then it starts saying, I'm tired of this country. Let me call somebody to ask him when I should get my passport. When I should go for my capturing, and then now you wouldn't have known that if you didn't sit with him. Assuming you send a survey to him, he will have told you, I'm not leaving the country. I'm not tired of Nigeria. In fact, I'm staying because he does not want you to know that he's traveling out. You get, but you sitting with him made you to realize that this man is actually tired of this country. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Okay.
from my side, but it's low. The volume is low.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's better. Thank you.
All right. Now you wouldn't have known if you didn't stay back to observe. Sorry for the low volume since I didn't know. All right, so asking users to document their own experience will help you see your product through their eyes. Do you understand? So when you ask them questions and you can even give them when it comes to diary research now, when you give them maybe a notebook, throughout this trip I want you to pen down what and what you are going to do, or the difficulty you faced, the things you enjoy about this trip. I want you to note everything down. Okay, we went to the beach. What happened at the beach? uh, were you happy after leaving the beach, or were you sad? What caused it? And then you've tabled all these questions, and then just tell them, please note those their answer. You understand? So you get to see your product through their eyes. So now let me go to um, secondary research. There are some research, but time is fast spent. So under secondary research, somebody asked last class that can can I go online to can I adopt existing research that has been done online to and make some basis make some how will I put it now? I can't really remember but let me just paraphrase. Can she work with online resources or online data for her research? And I said not really. You can work with it, but it shouldn't be what you it shouldn't be your local standing that okay because of according to Google, according to Wikipedia, this is what they said about Nigeria, therefore this is the problems. No, you can't stand on that alone. You still have to conduct, but you can use your secondary research to support your primary research. You understand? So what's the secondary research? It's just the normal thing we do day to day. Maybe anytime we don't know something, maybe a child asks you a question and then you don't want the child to know that you don't know the answer, you quickly check your phone. What is the meaning of abracadabra on Google? That's secondary research. So we are checking what Google has done the has gathered all the answer for you. So you just surf the net and then you access the answer. That's secondary research. It's when you are using existing data like books, articles, or internet to validate or support existing research. So you can't say you want to conduct a research and dominate all your facts and this and adapt all your facts to secondary research to be very wrong. You're not being realistic. So you have to it's just used to validate or support existing research. So you may use secondary research to create a stronger case for your design choices and provide additional insights into what you've learned during primary research. Those are things you can use your secondary research for. And it affords you to work with existing contents, like presentation or articles to present a strong case for your design choices. That is what uh, secondary research affords you. Now let's go to uh, wait, let me give you some examples of secondary research. We have just like this. I've mentioned on the internet. We have the web, but on the web there are so many things on the web that you can access. You can access university. We have research gates. Yeah, those are places you can visit. You understand? We have magazines. We have blogs. We have newspapers. We have internet data like computer database, sales reports, or historical information, and so on and so forth. So let's move on to attitudinal and behavioral research. So attitudinal research is about what people say. By learning what people say, you gain insight into what they think, what they feel, and what they want. Uh, so attitudinal research focuses on self-reported thoughts, beliefs, needs from users, or what users say, rather than what they do. You understand? So because there are sometimes you can say, "Oh, are you happy?" Yes, I am happy. Just like our shoemaker the other time. Do you want to leave the country? No. You get you said no, but meanwhile, later on, when as time went on, you realize that he actually wants to leave the country. So that's attitudinal research. You get thinking. It's about what they say. Some people are saying something, they are laughing, but that thing has more depth than the way they are presenting it. So that's the methods under this research type is interview, focus group, diary studies, and surveys. So and then the second one, which is behavioral, is a method of research that observe users' behavior. So do you now see why you have to use them pari passu? Attitudinal, what they are saying; behavioral, what they are doing. Do you understand? Maybe someone says, I'm happy, but the way he or she is working sluggishly, like someone that is starved, that has been starved for 2 or 3 days. So you should know that he's not really happy, he's hungry, he needs some water presently. So that's a behavioral research method. So it includes field study. You have to be there. You have to be there. Unlike attitudinal, you can work on voice notes. You can get your interview virtually. You can get your interview done virtually. But when it comes to behavioral, excuse me, when it comes to behavioral user research, you have to be there. You have to be there with them. You have to be on the field, and then other types of behavioral user research is web analytics, user research, user testing, tree testing. Now, what is tree testing? Tree testing is used to assess the findability, the labeling, and information architecture of a website or an app. And then with tree testing, you can identify navigation issues and navigation at least 4. Please omit your mind and mention them. At least 4. And if you can mention 4, that's a thumbs up. So who is speaking? Hello? If you can mention at least 4 user research methods, unmute yourself and speak. And if you can't, you can mention all. Please unmute.
Okay. I can't. I'll just try. Okay. So we have the quantitative and the qualitative. We have formative and summative research. We have the primary and secondary user research. We have behavioral and attitudinal user research.
Thank you very much. Mention 6. Okay. Who else? So all this, you've not been seeing the slides. Sorry. Who is speaking? I guess it's not obvious. Right. Okay, thank you. Alright, so mixed research method. It's about you mixing different research methods. And as a good user research, a good user research works with a mixture of research methods to get both the bigger picture and the details. You can't just say I want to stick to generative user research alone. You have to mix it. You have to mix it to get a bigger picture. And as a researcher, you can consider combining the research methods that I've mentioned earlier. Quantitative methods with qualitative, attitudinal with behavioral, or formative is summative, for a full understanding of your user behavior. You understand? So that is what mixed research methods. Before I go to choosing a research topic, let me see. Okay, I have the slide here. There's something called triangulation. Triangulation, it refers to the use of multiple sources of data or multiple approach to analyzing data. Just like we have mixing research method. Okay. Just like mixing research method doesn't just apply to collecting your research data alone, but also how you might analyze it. Triangulation, it refers to multiple source, the use of multiple source of data or multiple approaches to analyze your data. So just like we have different types of user research method, we have different types of analysis, ways you can analyze those data, the data you get to collect from your research. You understand? So that is triangulation of methods and analysis. Now let's go to choosing a research topic. So when it comes to choosing a research topic for user research, it involves deciding on a focused research. Deciding on a focused research goal, research question to help achieve that goal, and the research methods to help answer those research questions. So when you are starting the product development process, consider the problem space, the scope of the problem you are trying to address, and when you can move on to writing a research plan. These are the things you consider when you are choosing a research topic. Let me go over it again. When you are starting the project development process, you have to consider your problem space, the scope of the problem you are trying to address, and then you can move on to writing a research plan. So once you've chosen the methods you want to use for your user research, you can begin by preparing and executing your research by following this step. No, the first step is initiating a user research the first step in initiating a user research project is always to write a research plan. That's the first step you have to do when you want to initiate. In fact, that's the first step when it comes to design process. You have to go and find out what your users really need. So that's the first step. The first step in initiating a user research project. And that is what? Writing a research plan. So a research plan should include some things like your background. It should include your research goal, research questions, research methods and protocols, any ethical considerations, and a timeline and due date. The timeline goes thus: maybe I want to conduct this research. All our research, whatever method we are using, we must finish our research within 2 weeks. That's the timeline. But there are different stages in user research, so you can now put time to between day 1 and day 2. You must have identified our problem. Day 2 to day 3, you must have brainstormed. Written out our knowledge as a team. We must have written, and then we must have concluded on the things we need to research on. We must have drafted our research goal by on the 3rd day. We must have done that, and then after 1 week, we must send out surveys, our first survey, and then the following day, we must send another email. You understand? So those are protocols. You state out those protocols. That these are the steps I'm following, and the timeline. You attach some timeline to those protocols. So what's the benefits? We've spent so many minutes now talking about different methods of user research, and I know you must be asking, why do I have to go through all this stress just to so can't I just get on Figma and start designing? But it actually does have its benefits. The benefits of a UX research plan. The benefits, it helps in creating it helps in fostering alignment. It helps in fostering alignment. It's best if your teammates, yourself, and the stakeholders, we are on the same page. So it's not that you are saying A and your team is saying no, it's B, and your the stakeholder are saying no, I disagree with that. You understand? So if you want everybody to be on the same page, you have to create a UX research plan. So it helps to foster alignment. So it ensures the entire team is clear on the project's objective, the timeline and specification, and provide a reference document to keep everyone on the same page. So after you've drafted your user research plan, you have to create a document. You have to prepare a reference document to keep everybody on the same page. That means you document your research plan and you send it to the stakeholder, to your team member, and you keep a copy to yourself. You understand? So that you won't need to be calling Taiwo every time, but why have you not done your own part in the plan? Taiwo knows when he or she should finish what he or she is asked to do. You understand? So everybody knows what to do. And then another benefit is to achieve your UX goals. So a solid research plan helps you to stay focused on the track, and it reminds your team of the high level goal and acknowledges the progress you've made. So it reminds your team of your high level goal, and it also acknowledges the progress you've made. So you can track your progress. If you have a research plan, you can track your progress. And then it also engages stakeholders. It helps in engaging stakeholders. Who are your stakeholders? They can be your employer. It can be your employer. It can be the users, the people that sent you to do the work. Those are your stakeholders. You understand? So perhaps you're a product owner and you have a team. Your team, they are part of your stakeholders. You also you're a stakeholder because it's your project, but you are just privileged to be a UI/UX designer also. So you are the designer, you are the stakeholder, you are the team lead, or whatever circumstance. You understand what I'm saying? There are different scenarios when it comes to owning a product. You can own a product personally, and it can be that somebody sent you or somebody gave you the job. You get so. How do you write a research plan? How do you write a research plan? Right, so I want to share my screen now. Okay, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
So I promise to show you how a prototype looks like. This is how a prototype looks like. Alright, so this is a mobile application. Right, so it's not yet launched. It's still a prototype. It's still at the prototyping stage. As you can see, but it's looking like it's real. It's not real. It's just if I'm to show you the actual documents, you just see some couple of screens, but once you click on the prototype button, you prototype the screens, you have something like this. So when it comes to responsiveness, you want to check if the buttons are responding. You click on the button so you can have an idea. If you want, you can get to know at this stage if your buttons, your targets are big enough, if it won't give your users issues. You understand? So now I'm going back to the start page. This is the feature page. Call a doctor or chat a doctor. Next. I can choose to skip to the sign in. I want to sign in, right? So this is the error page. Okay. That's because I didn't fill in my email before, so still telling that my password is incorrect. Okay, click on forget password, and then send me email, and then it's verifying the account, and then I'm on the home page, and if I choose okay, I want to check my wallet. This is a health app. It's a digital health app, and its function is to help Nigerians. I'm going to show you the research stage of this product. So maybe I should start with that. But I just want to show you how a prototype looks like. That's why I'm showing the prototype now. So hello? Yes. Does it apply to everybody?
No, I can see the screen.
I
I
guess
can
it's
see the
the
screen here too.
I guess it's the person.
Ah.
Alright, can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you can see your screen.
Alright, so that's for the prototype. So I'm going to be showing you how please give me 1 minute, let me check something. Okay. Alright, so I'll be working with research plan. So the first step is defining the problem statement. You have to define your problem statement. What exactly is the problem before you start you start addressing anything. Let me try to put this one. Okay. Alright. Okay, good. Now, so you have to define your problem statement. So I'll be giving you an assignment on this subject. So I'll demonstrate how it's done by taking you through the research phase of the project I've done, and the name of the product is Media Alerts. Media Alert. That I was showing you the prototype the other time. So when it comes to designing a product, you can be asked to do it, or you can own the product, just like I said the other time. You can choose to observe Nigeria and identify a problem and design a product that will be a solution to that problem. So problems birth products. That is how it works. If there is no problem, there's no point designing a product. There must be a problem you're solving. That's where your design comes in. So a design is a solution to a problem in this time. So I noticed some industries like logistics, fintech, health tech, agro, and environment. The industry is quite vast, so I chose the health tech industry and I identified the problem. I observed that the health industry in Nigeria has been trying its best in taking several steps forward towards achieving the lofty goal of universal health coverage (UHC) by 2030. But the progress has been slow. So the first steps I'm taking now is to define my problem statement. Now let's discuss defining problem statement. So we won't be able to cover much. I will stop on this problem statement and defining problem statement, and then we continue tomorrow evening. So alright, so this is a template. Let me quickly walk you through on how to get this template on Figma. So type on Figma.com, type Figma.com, takes you to this. You get what I'm saying, and then you go to community, and then under community. Okay, let me stop sharing then. Hold on. Where is let me reshare my screen. It's showing a particular tab. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see the screen now? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
we can.
Okay, you can. Thank you for confirming that. Alright, so I was showing you how to. Now let me restart the process. You type figma.com, click on enter, and so it takes you to you click on your email in this section that you have your email. You go to the community and then you search for user research of it, and this one. But that's maybe I should send you the link to the one I have here. But you go to the community, you can access that on the community, not to waste your time. So now, for this particular project, so anytime you want to create a problem statement, when you want to define your problem statement, when creating a user research plan, you have to clarify why you are trying to, what you are trying to achieve, and why you are conducting a research. You have to clarify what you are trying to achieve within the research you are about to conduct, and identify the problem statement. So this process begins by sitting together. You sit together with your stakeholders. You look into the problem space, and then you learn about what they already know. So it's not just, you don't go to your users directly, so to say. You sit with your team, and if you are the one, and if you are the only one on the team now, take for instance, I was the only one working on this. So you ask yourself, what are the things I know about this industry? What do I know? You understand? So you do an exercise called FOG, which stands for fact, observation, guess, to identify the large gaps in knowledge, and then you evaluate what you know. So evaluating what you know will illuminate the questions you still have to ask, and then it will serve as a foundation for your UX research project. So after you ask yourself, what are the things I know, so that you won't still go out there asking the questions you yourself can answer. You understand? So you first of all write out the things you know, and that is what this knowledge board is all about. Knowledge board. Let me show you the overview of the template. This is the overview of the template. This is the knowledge, this is the question, UX research plan, then the recruiting. So each and then there's this new feature in FigJam. Anytime you shake your cursor like this, it gives you can send a high five to your collaborators. So that's the joy of using FigJam. So this is your knowledge board. So on my knowledge board, I've written some assumptions about the health sector. I've written out some assumptions about the health sector. So I said the health sector in Nigeria has not explored digitalization. They've not explored it. I'm just assuming though. I assumed that they've not explored digitalization, and I assume that the Nigeria's health industry does not have the ability to effectively adapt and respond to a health emergency except on contact. So Nigerians, it has been known that Nigerian hospitals, they only get to attend to people when, from my own experience, I don't know whether that's true. I still have to validate these assumptions. They only get to attend to people unless they see the person. They can't attend to you on phone, and there is no facility or there's no product available that presently that you can just call your healthcare personnel and ask them, oh, an accident just occurred now, what do I do? You understand? So while I wait an ambulance. So those are things, those are my assumptions, and also assume that while other citizens of some countries can access medical care before they can get in touch with health practitioners physically, an average Nigerian still needs to find a way to transport himself to the hospital or medical center before he or she receives medical care. And that's when you see someone that has head injury in an accident. They are transporting him or her with a bike, and then somebody's at the back supporting him. The person that on a normal day, even if you watch Hollywood, American films, you see them putting them 1, 2, 3, they count 1, 2, 3, and then put them on the stretcher. So that, and they tell you that the person ought not to be on the sitting in the sitting position, so that blood will be able to flow to the brain. And then you can see in Nigeria that same person, you see somebody in that same kind of situation sitting comfortably on the bike, and means you are way to the hospital, and then you now start hearing brought in bed. You understand? So those are assumptions. Those are things I assume that okay. I guess that's why our progress rate has been slow, and that's why we've not been able to achieve what we plan achieving by 2030. We are not even close to it at all. So, and I also assume that during COVID 2019 pandemic, it became more obvious that Nigerian Nigerian's health industry does not have the ability to effectively adapt and respond to a health emergency. You see people slum, you must have heard different stories, and a lot of things happened. Some people died due to COVID, although some Nigerians will say maybe they had some underlying illness. It might not be COVID that killed them, but there are a lot of stories around it. So, but it was so clear that even if someone is going to die, assuming COVID was as serious as it were in other countries, and Nigeria will have been the way Microsoft CEO described it. You get? So now another assumption is some health issues can be taken care of without having to go to the hospital physically, especially if the patient has been to the hospital for a physical examination. Take for instance, maybe a pregnant woman, she has been to the hospital, or maybe someone that has a fracture in the leg, and he or she has been to the hospital before, so she can still make do with this. There should be a platform whereby I can still call my doctor and ask questions. Apart from the circumstance whereby I have a personal doctor, you understand? I should be able to speak with any health practitioner. There should be a platform for such. And then the patients, in a situation whereby the patient has a lifetime ailment, or there is need to call for an ambulance. I can imagine if there is a need to call for an ambulance, and then the ambulance operator is telling me that the ambulance our tire is bad, or there is no petrol. Petrol is quite scarce now, so we've not been able to. Or in fact, how many of us on this call has the number of an ambulance on our phone? Do you even know if somebody, let's say something happens on your streets today, how will you contact an ambulance? Do you know? You understand? So those are assumptions I've made depending on the time the ambulance arrives. What are the things I'm going to do? So under this, what's going on? This page needs to be removed.
Can hear you.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Now I was wondering why that part of the page was not loading. I didn't know that this billboard was covering that part. All right, so this is my assumption list. I've made all my assumptions. So now this part is for desktop research, also known as secondary research. A research you can make while sitting on your desk. You understand? So I've picked some, and I said during COVID-19 pandemic, it became more obvious that Nigerians health industry does not have the ability to effectively adapt and respond to a health emergency. Is that true? So I can easily go online and search what is the response rate of the health sector during the COVID-19 pandemic. I will definitely see some research or some write-ups or articles to have an answer. You understand what I'm saying? Another one is some health issues can be taken care of without having to go to the hospital physically. I can check this out. What are the health issues? I can solve the net and ask Google. What are the health issues that someone can have that can easily be taken care of without physically going to the hospital? Definitely. And even without going to the net, you can list some headache, catarrh, cough. There are some things that you personally, you don't go to the hospital before you take care of it. So you just walk into a medicine store and you order for medications and you understand what I'm saying. So there are some Ailments like that that you know, you've had them over and over, and you know the symptoms already. So another one is, I think it's because the health sector in Nigeria has not explored, explored. Maybe a mistake there. Has not explored digitalization. Is this a fact? So if you go online, you can Google it. As once as the health sector in Nigeria been digitalized, you get to see some articles that you can read that will tell you no. Some will say yes to some extent, and they will tell you the challenges they are facing. So by the time you conduct this desk research, now out of all my assumptions, there are some assumptions I've made that I cannot get answers to. I cannot validate sitting at my desk. I have to conduct a primary research. So those are the assumptions you copy and paste under these other methods. You understand? Many have died due to the fact that they couldn't get to the medical center on time, nor contact an ambulance. Now you might maybe you've heard stories about your neighbors, your neighbor that died last week, stuff like that, but you still have to ask people. It might have happened just to you. It might have happened to your neighbor only. You need to ask people, is it true? So that you won't just be assuming, you won't sound biased, you understand? So you have to conduct a primary research for this type of assumption. And then after you've conducted this is a quick one. After you've conducted your desk research and you've gathered some facts, you put them here. Under facts, these are facts that nobody can argue it. Yeah, even if they say I will cut your head, you can stand by that. This is the truth. You understand? Those are the things you put under facts. You understand? So that's and under my fact, I said challenges that can hinder or inhibit the implementation of digital health in Nigeria include electricity, internet penetration, perceptions of the users, and so on. I'm sure some people just believe that it's until a doctor sees them, that's when they can be cured. They don't be, even if they provide a platform where they can call their doctors online, they will not access it. Because they will think, fake doctor, what happened to you? My head is aching, okay. Take PCM, take this, take that. So it must be a fake doctor, you get that. Especially those elderly people. Sorry for saying that. Yeah, no, they won't trust the platform. They might not. Don't let me assume. They might not. And then so under these questions, what else do you need to know? So this is where you now write your research question. The research question that you use other methods, you understand, to find answers to that. This is where you write them. So tomorrow I'll continue. We still have a lot of things. To, because it is not even filled all this part. So tomorrow we'll talk about all this, how you'll be able to work on these tabs, and I'll teach you how to use the tool FigJam. This FigJam, the feature under Figma. So do you have any question? Okay, Francisca will be, I'm with you. Let me stop sharing. The Figma file, you mean the FigJam? Yes, the FigJam file. Definitely, you will get the template when I give you your assignment. Definitely, I will do that. All right. So, any question, please?
Thank you
All right.
once again for this session. Please, I want to ask, like you mentioned, like quite a number of different user research, like different types.
I can't hear you again.
Hello, can you hear me
Hello?
now?
Yes.
Yes, I said you mentioned different type of research methods, right? So when we are designing a product, so how do we decide which one to use at what point in time?
At what point?
At different points
Okay.
in time.
All right. So you can decide that by understanding the meaning of each research method. You know, from the definitions I gave, you have explained at the point at which you can adopt which any of the research methods. Take for instance, if it's generative now, I told you that it's a two-way thing when it comes to designing a product. It's either you own the product or you somebody you got employed and okay, you got employed and they gave you and they asked you to work on the product. You understand? Maybe you're a freelancer or you're a UIUX designer in a company, working for a company. So now let's say you are the owner of the product. You are just starting the product from the scratch. Like the products you've not even started, not to talk of you applying, adopting evaluative research, user research. So from at the start of the design process, you can use generative user research. Once you start, then you can use evaluative. By the time you move from the empathy stage, and then you are getting to ideation, you are getting to you can start evaluating. You gather some data from our research. Are we sure that we are still in line with our user goals? Are we sure that we are still giving our users what they ask for? That's evaluative. And now let me paint another scenario. Maybe you are asked to work on an existing product. The product is bad, it has a bad UX, so you need to improve on the experience. In such instance, you can use summative and formative because it's already an existing product. You cannot use, they are all under evaluative user research. You understand? So you can use such. And then when you are conducting the generative user research, you can choose to use behavioral and attitudinal. Attitudinal and behavioral, you can still use it also under your formative. You can still use it alongside with your formative and summative because you are still going back to your users to find out what's up, what's the issue, what's the problem. You understand? So you can still use them. I hope I answered your question. Is there another question?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Any other person? Okay. Guess.
Hey, Hannah, sorry.
All right.
Sorry, one more question. Sorry. One more
Okay.
question. So you spoke about user groups, right? Like sending surveys to user groups. So how do we get, like, where do we see these user groups? Because most of the times you put up survey links and you don't get responses as quick as possible. Maybe you have a timeline, right, a deadline to give your report, but you are not getting enough response to the survey. So where are places suggestions of places that we can get quick response when we need survey answers?
Okay, when it comes to user groups, you need to ask yourself, who are my users in the first place? Now, I have given two examples now. I talked on the travel products, the travel space design solution and all, because and the design, the what's it called? The project is targeting, our target audience is the youth. Now, the one I discussed this evening, which is the medical health sector, whatever product, is targeting sick Nigerians, unwell Nigerians. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? people that need medical emergency,
Yeah.
they need a quick guideline on what to do before the doctor comes. You understand? So that's what the product is about. So you need to. So when you're in such situation, if you want to conduct a research, as I'm doing now for this kind of products, you can think of people you know that are sick. You can go to the hospital. Those are user groups. You can go to the hospital and conduct a research there. You can go to adults home care homes, caregiver homes, so what's it called? You go there, you conduct your research. If it's youth, you can come to the campus, conduct your research. You find, or if you know a WhatsApp group that is dominated by students, just throw it there. Or if you know students in your environment or people maybe in your caucus, you can send it to them. Although it shouldn't be only your friends you send your research questions to, so that you won't get a one-sided answer. They'll just feed it because they respect you, because they like you. So they'll feel what they feel you would like to hear. So it's better you give people you don't know also. So that I hope I've answered your question.
Yes.
All right. So there was somebody that wanted to talk there. I thought somebody wanted to talk to that time. Hello. Should we call it a day? Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, we
I
can hear you.
All right. I thought somebody wanted to ask a question the other time. I heard the man's voice the other time. All right. Since nobody is asking any questions, so thank you. You can just describe your experience with this emoji in the chat section. If the class was awesome, if it's just okay, or you're disappointed. You don't like the way I'm speaking, or just give us a feedback. And I want to thank you for attending tonight's class. We are quite few tonight, but it's worth the time. So on behalf of adults, I want to say big thank you to everybody that's on call and has waited to the end of the class. So watch out for your tags on the Discord channel, on the Discord community. So check the tags and review channel for your tags. You see a link to a Google form where you answer, you go and send, and then I started teaching you tonight. Yeah, I'll complete it tomorrow so that you get to have your tax on that too. So if you can take it serious and you get a good mark, you get a certificate that you can put on LinkedIn or every other platform. So thank you once again, and I would say follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at Alert Academy. Please and please share your experience. Don't be quiet on the community. Tell us if you observe something you feel we should improve on. Just tell us. Share your experience on the channels, and make sure you do your tasks. Right. So thank you very much for tonight. For coming online tonight. So you have a very good night.